Hello and welcome to Jerry's Live. My name is Michaelia Westra and I will be your host today. And as you can see, we have a guest with us today. This is Lisa from Magnani and she is here all the way from Italy.
Yes, I am. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm glad to be here. And as I said, I'm going to talk a little bit about Magnani today, about our papers and two papers in particular. So yeah, I'm excited going to talk a little bit about paper making, paper history. So I think it's going to be a fun episode.
I think so too. And I'm actually very excited about these two papers in particular because I am a mixed media artist and I love drawing. So that's exactly, if you were like me, you're going to enjoy these papers today. But before we jump into that, I do want to make sure that if you guys are interested in anything that we are using tonight, today's class code is going to be JL358. And if you put that code on JerrysArtarama's search bar online, you will see everything that we are using and you can add it to your cart and join along with us if you want. But so we are going to be talking about the Annigoni and Arte Moderna papers.
Exactly. We're going to talk about two of my favorite papers of Magnani, actually. They're very special. The Annigoni one is my favorite of all time. I think there is nothing like that out in the market. Like it's so special. I will tell you all the all the secrets. Exactly. So
but let's go ahead and take a closer look at, do we want to start with the Annigoni?
yeah, let's do that.
All right, okay.
Sure.
So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So we have a 9.5 by 12 Annigoni sheet pad here. And I just want to show off the tone of this paper before we get into the fun stuff because I love toned paper, especially when it has a little bit of like that fiber showing in there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I absolutely love when there's a little something extra that gives the paper itself some character before you even add anything to it.
Yeah, and that's also the reason why I love this paper so much and why it's my favorite. I always say you either love it or you hate it. And I personally love it.
Yes.
It's so special, not only because of the color itself, because it's like this beige color, very nice beige tone, but you also have the some cellulosic fibers, dark fibers inside, and it's perfect. It's a nice drawing paper. It's perfect for all dry techniques, all kind of drawing techniques. So you can use pastels on them. You can use charcoal. On the front cover, we say that it's mainly suitable for drawing and charcoal. Charcoal because I'm going to tell you a little bit the story behind this nice paper. It has a very nice strange name, maybe not so strange for us Italians,
right?
But it's called Annigoni. It's called Annigoni because actually there is a famous Italian portrait painter behind this special paper, and he was called Pietro Annigoni. He was one of the most famous Italian portrait painters of the 20th century. So he was born in Milan in 1910, and he was one of the few artists who got the honor in 1954 to portray Queen Elizabeth II of England.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was kind of a big deal. So, and I'm so thrilled and honored, we're very honored that Pietro Annigoni came to our paper mill. Magnani is an Italian paper mill. We are located in Tuscany originally. We're originally from Tuscany, you know, the hills and trees and like you would imagine Italy. So he came to our paper mill in Tuscany and he asked our paper makers to develop this specific paper that you have in front of you. Yeah, he came to the mill, he worked together with our master paper makers, and they developed this paper and he used it for his studies, for his artworks. Annigoni used to draw a lot with charcoal. He has a lot of paintings, like this one that you can see here, for example. This is one of Annigoni's paintings that he had done, and he loved to draw with charcoal. So that's why we're saying drawing in charcoal, but you can use, you know, any drawing technique that you would like.
Right, and we are going to do that for you guys in a minute. So if you guys have any idea or any questions about what something is going to look like on this paper, we have a lot of stuff to try out.
Achille is gonna do it, not me. I'm not an
excited
artist.
for this. I love scribbling on paper.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, that's a little bit the history behind the name of this paper, and it's so special to us because, you know, it's quite an honor to have such a paper inside our paper range, and still today it's part of our paper range. It's a 170 pounds paper, so it's, let's say, more heavyweight paper. It is 100% cotton. You can see it here on the cover. Being 100% cotton, it makes this paper a naturally archival paper. This means that it won't yellow over time. It won't be affected by UV rays, so it will maintain your paper stable over time, which is very important when you're choosing your surface.
Right.
But it also, the 100% cotton also will make your paper more strong and resistant to erasing, scratching, scrubbing, you know, but also more absorbent. When you choose the raw material for the paper making process, you can normally you either choose cotton, which is the superior raw material, and then you have cellulose. Cotton is the superior raw material because the fibers are longer and they're more resistant. So when you're going to choose the surface on which you want to paint or draw on, I would recommend you to choose a 100% cotton paper because it's naturally lignin free, which is the wooden part of cellulose, which will make your paper acidic. So it's 100% archival quality because it's naturally lignin free, and it will also make your paper more resistant. But not only is it 100% cotton, another thing that you want to make sure when you choose your surface is you want to make sure that the paper is mold made, which is this one over here. When I'm going to do a little bit of an introduction, or let's say an in-depth explanation of how you can produce paper. There are 3 ways on how to produce paper. First one is handmade paper, which is the most ancient method on how you can make paper, is making paper by hand. Paper was invented not in Europe, not in Italy. It was invented in 105 AD in China. And the paper then came in 1200 to Europe, to Italy, through the Arabs and the Silk Road. And what happened in Italy is that some major inventions were made there, and they made paper what it is today. So the paper that was invented in China was not resistant to liquids, so it would absorb all the ink and everything that you would write or draw on. It would absorb completely, and it wouldn't have any purpose because it wouldn't stay on top. So in Italy, they invented the gelatin, the animal gelatin sizing, by chance, like a lot of things, but by dipping a sheet of paper into animal gelatin, and by afterwards drying it, of course, they realized that they made the paper resistant to liquids. So that when you're talking about sizing and paper, you want to make sure that every sheet of paper is sized. You have 2 kinds of sizing. You have the internal, like most of papers have an internal sizing, and then you have the external, the surface sizing. That specific sizing is only put, let's say, for example, on watercolor papers
Right.
or our second paper, our mixed media paper.
Yes.
And the sizing will limit the absorption of it. It will make the cotton fibers resistant to liquids. So
And the Annigoni, correct me if I'm wrong, does not have any sizing.
it has an internal sizing that it has for sure. All of the papers have that.
Okay.
But it doesn't have the external sizing.
Okay.
So I wouldn't recommend to use a lot of water or any humid media on it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's mainly for dry media.
Right. Okay.
Exactly. So yeah, and then back to what I was saying about the mold made that you can see here. You have the handmade paper, and then you have the mold made. So I know, as I said before, the fibers, the raw material is very important. But right after that, you want to make sure that you choose a mold made paper, because mold made means that it's a machine made, it's a machine process how to produce paper, but it gives you the consistent quality of a machine made paper.
Right.
But the flair and the uniqueness of a handmade paper. For example, I don't know if you want to grab
We can. Yeah.
this one over here.
So this is also going to be Annigoni paper, but instead of it being in a pad, they also have single large sheets.
Yeah, we actually have them in two sizes, a bigger and a smaller size. They all come with, I pulled it out mainly to show you this edge over here.
The deckled edges.
Exactly, the deckled edges. That's what I was saying when I was talking about the feel and the flair of a handmade paper. You can only get deckled edges if the paper is handmade or if it's mold made. So,
Okay.
but you have the consistent quality
Right.
of a machine-made paper. What happens during the production on a mold machine, on a traditional cylinder mold machine, the production pace is slower rather than on a machine-made paper, which is the third way of making papers. Like, for example, paper for packaging or printing are made on those machines, which go very, very fast. And by going very, very fast, the fibers get a natural direction. So that doesn't happen on the mold made. On the mold machine, the production pace is slower, and so the fibers, the cotton fibers, have enough time to settle evenly on the surface and to interlock better. And that's how you get like a very extraordinary surface on which you want to paint on. When you choose a mold made paper, you will not going to to fight against your surface. The surface and the paper will try to elevate. It will help you draw and paint. No, it's really like that. So always make sure that you choose raw material, 100% cotton, but also make sure to choose a mold made paper. That's very, very important. So
I know you were talking about those little medallions on the paper. So you
Yeah.
talked about the mold made and how the 100% cotton kind of allows it to be acid free and archival.
exactly.
But I'm curious what OBA free is.
OBA free, the OBA stands for optical brighteners agents. Yeah, those are some substances that you add when you're making paper, and that will make your paper more crisp white.
Okay.
Yeah, so it will stand out. It will be like if you put it under a black light, do you call it? It will turn out fluorescent. Well, sorry, my English
No,
is
you're
not
good.
is not excellent. But what will happen is in the moment that you buy or produce the paper, it will be very nice and white and crisp and everything. But these OBAs will degrade over time. So if you retrieve your artwork that you painted on a non-OBA free paper, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years from now, the color of the paper will have changed, and this will affect your artwork. So you want to make sure that the surface you paint on is absolutely OBA free and it will stay stable.
Okay.
Yeah. The other one that we have over here, so we talked about the acid free because it's 100% cotton, so it has a pH higher than 7, and it's acid free, so it will not yellow. Then we have the other one over here, which is the long life with the little infinity sign.
Right.
This is very strictly linked to the acid free. It makes sure that it's compliant with an ISO standard. Sorry, I don't remember the number. But it's an ISO standard that basically makes sure that the paper stays chemically and physically stable over time. So it won't degrade, it won't yellow over time, and it will stay stable 30, 40, 50, 100 years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are like the main features. All of Magnani papers, which are at the moment exclusively available only at Jerry's. Just want to make sure to say that.
Yes.
If you want some Magnani paper, you have to get it at Jerry's. All of our papers are mold made. We produce exclusively on a mold machine. And all of them are also 100% cotton. So we will have
Perfect.
a very nice quality when you choose a Magnani 1404 paper. The Annigoni one is available in like pads, like this one that you can see here, which is glued only on one side, on the top. And we have three different sizes.
I brought the small one just in case we needed
Exactly.
that.
So it's these three sizes. And as we showed before, it's also available in the large sheets, which
Right.
are available into sizes. Yeah.
And then why don't we go ahead and try some different media on the drawing paper.
Yay, let's do that.
Okay. So I grabbed quite a few things because I wanted to show just how versatile this drawing paper is. So I have some charcoal, I have some oil impregnated charcoal pencils, some waterproof ink, colored pencils, graphite. So I'm just gonna go ahead and swatch all of these out on here just so you can see what media looks like on this toned paper. So I have, I'm just gonna grab 10B graphite because this is kind of dark, and you can see that really nice drawing paper texture.
Yeah, it's the surface of the paper is like a natural light green, so it's a very nice tooth to it, but it's not too prominent, let's say.
Right.
It's a very nice surface for drawing techniques in general.
And if I press down hard enough, if I wanted to get rid of that texture, I don't have to press down too hard in order to fully add pigment to the surface. And then, okay, what is your favorite color? Because I want you to select.
My favorite color? You sure?
Yes.
Pink.
Yes. Okay. And I actually tried this ahead of time, what these colored pencils look like on this paper. You can even grab another pink, do a little blend.
And with the paper being 100% cotton, you can like really get into it. That surface will stay there. It will not, you can tear it, you can erase it, you can scrub it.
Oh, yes.
It's very resistant.
And I love these Jumbo Jet pencils on this. I'll show you why after we do this. I was very excited for this show. I told you I was in love with these papers. So I did some art on each of these, which we will show you a little bit later.
We will. These fibers that you can see here, originally, so when Mr. Pietro Annigoni, Maestro Pietro Annigoni, came to the mill, it was originally a wool fiber. But as in Magnani, we are trying to do something different and make a difference. We decided to go 100% vegan friendly. So we decided to replace the wool fibers with cellulosic fibers. So that was a little adjustment that we made to the recipe, but I think it's worth it. Also, all of our papers are 100% vegan friendly because we don't use any animal gelatin anymore when sizing the paper.
That's good to know.
It's not this one, but the one that we are going to show afterwards. It's 100% vegan sizing.
I like that.
Wow.
And I really like how the charcoal looks on here. And I thought it would stick more to the paper, but it actually does blend really well.
Yeah, it's because of the nice surface, because it's not too textured. So, and also because of the 100% cotton composition, you know, you have, it's a perfect surface to draw on.
Oh yeah. And I'm cleaning off my hands with a needle eraser. I want to show you guys the erasability on here as well. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
All right. And then I also have some ink because I do feel like this is a really nice paper for ink as well.
Absolutely. You know, any drawing media that you would like. You can also try to use a little bit of water. I would not recommend to use loads of water because, as I said, it's not extremely surface sized. But yeah, that works really, really nice.
Did that really tiny for you guys. All right, but if you guys have any other, we have a question?
Yes.
Yes.
So I know you just said that water is not really recommended for this. So that means acrylic paints are essentially not recommended either, right?
As I said before, it's not the primary use for this paper. This paper is a drawing paper, so it's boring to be used with dry media. But as it is 100% cotton, you can try to use a little bit of humid medias on it. It's also okay to it's suitable to be treated with natural mediums, like for example rabbit skin glue. I know that's not on the vegan side, but you also have like vegan options, I think.
PVA sizing.
Yeah, exactly. So you can also try to prime it with that, or also use, for example, acrylic gesso, and you can use it with oil afterwards. But I would not recommend to use it like a acrylic or watercolor paper. We have other papers for that.
Now, what about collage?
You can use a little bit of collage. You can try. Basically, you know, as I said, because it's 100% cotton, the fibers are very strong, and it makes the paper highly absorbent. So you can try it. It's not the primary use, but you can try it.
All right, so I just did quite a few things on here in case you guys missed it. I have graphite, colored pencil, the Jumbo Jet pencils, which are those oil-infused charcoal pencils, just normal willow charcoal, the Accurate waterproof technical pens, and I also put some of the metallic soft pastels on there.
Wow, those are nice.
I love these so much.
And you chose my favorite color.
Of course. But since we didn't have a lot of time to actually make some fun stuff for you, I did make some art on this paper ahead of time. And in case you were not aware, it is International Self-Portrait Day on the 1st of November.
Which matches perfectly with Annigoni being
Yes.
a portrait painter.
So this is just those jumbo jet pencils on this paper. They match so well with this paper. So if you get this, definitely try out those jumbo jet pencils on there. They mesh so well with that tone color.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. I had so much fun.
Gosh, really, it's a shame you're not talented at all.
I know.
I know. We have another question.
Yes, is there a grit to this paper that helps the pastel stay on it, or?
Yes, so there is just the tiniest little bit of texture, which you could kind of see with that graphite, and it allows just enough tooth for that pastel to adhere to that surface.
Yeah, basically what we did with this paper when you produce on a mold machine, you have like the wet stock, like the fibers and water, and then what happens is that the still wet stock passes through 2 sets of marking felts, and the marking felts are what give the texture to the paper. So they mark the still wet stock. So for example, in watercolor paper, when you're doing a cold press, you will have a felt which has some tiny dots inside of the felt. When you have a rough paper, you will have bigger knots. When you have a hot press paper instead, you won't use any marking felt, but you will use it's like an ironing process.
Right.
And this will smooth out completely the paper. What happens with this particular paper, and the one that we will see after, is that we don't use any marking felt, but we also don't iron it. So it's a natural rough paper. It's the natural roughness that comes out of the machine.
And you can probably see it on here as well, where I tried to get very light. You can see the texture of that paper again. All right, but we have a lot more to cover, so let's go ahead and switch over to the mixed media paper. Okay, so tell me how this is going to be different from the Annigoni paper.
So this paper, it's called Arte Moderna, which it's Italian and it means modern art. So it's a mixed media paper. So you can, it's suitable for all kinds of techniques, for wet, but also for dry techniques, even if combined on the same sheet of paper. So it's a very versatile paper. You can use a lot of techniques on it, and it's a super, super high quality. Because as you can see here, we have our picto, which says 100% cotton. So you will still have a very high quality, like you had before with the Annigoni paper, 100% cotton. But you will have this one is a little bit more heavyweight than the other, like slightly.
Yeah.
This one is 140 pounds, and it comes in one side glue pads, always glued here on the top. Also in the 3 different sizes that we showed before, but it also comes in 4 decal edge sheets. Just gonna grab the sheet because I wanted to show you something.
Oh yes. Now the Annigoni paper did not have this, but
No.
this is how you know that you're getting really good quality, real Magnani paper.
I have a problem here.
Oh no, did our battery pack die?
I don't know what happened.
Oh.
Oh, it was turned off.
There we go, okay.
Sorry about that. So,
If we can go to that side camera, I think that was the best place we could see
Yeah.
it.
okay. Yeah. Let me just
So you can see in that bottom right
Exactly.
corner.
You can see it here. This one over here, what you can see when you backlight the sheet of paper, this one is called a watermark. And this is, together with the sizing invention that was done in Italy, this is the second invention. Very important, because this will certify and attest that your paper is genuine and is therefore of high quality. No one ever can counterfeit this sheet of paper, because
Right.
a watermark is only, you can only do a watermark during production. It's not an embossing. It's a basically what it is, it's a thinner layer of fibers. So basically what happens here is that during production, our paper masters will attach and fix a design, a drawing, or a name, or a brand, or whatever, like here, for example, Magnani 1404, to the cylinder where we are going to produce the paper. And what will happen here is that there will be a less amount of fibers. So when you backlight the sheet of paper, this one will appear. So it's basically the oldest security feature in the world. And it's still used today on banknotes and other things, and on our Magnani paper. So you can always be sure that you're using a true, real Magnani paper.
Right. And I will say, as someone who has been looking into like the history of art supplies, I have been loving seeing like art with a visual watermark somewhere in the art, because then I know, like, oh, I know they're using Magnani paper, or I know that they're using Arche paper. But I feel like that's something little, but I find it very helpful for me.
Not only for you, for us in general, when we want to look and make sure that maybe a famous artist painted on our papers, we can
Right.
always be sure of that, because we always have the watermark and we can check it. We can date different artworks. We can date them because we can get back to the watermark and to when it was produced. So it's a very important security feature. Major breakthrough.
Oh, yeah. All right.
So yeah, this particular sheet of paper of Arte Moderna will have the watermark on the bottom right corner, and it will also have the 4 decal edges on all 4 sides.
Yes.
And it comes in imperial size, 22 by 30 inches. And so you see, it basically looks like a watercolor paper. You know, these, normally you have these types of papers, like the high quality with watermark, with 4 decal edges. You always have that for, you normally have that for the watercolor technique, but you never really had that for the mixed media. So maybe because watercolor is like the more ancient technique, and mixed media is rather a more modern
new.
technique and newer technique, but we really wanted to create something for all of you that love to experiment, that love to go into things and do different kind of things. So this paper, if you're looking for high quality paper which is dedicated to mixed media, this one's for you.
And I love the large sheets, because as someone who does mixed media, I do like to go pretty big when I'm mixing different things together. So this is fantastic, especially if you decide you want a very custom size. You can get the sheets and trim it down to exactly what you want.
Yeah, that's true. And what's also the color of the paper, if you compare it, for example, to our watercolor papers, like Italia or Portofino or Toscana, you will see that the color is slightly more brilliant white. But we will always come back to what we said here. It will be a more brilliant white, but it will still be OBA free. So you can be sure that there are no optical brighteners agents here inside this paper.
Okay. We have another question.
Can you remind us what the sizing is for these papers?
Yes. So this paper, it's basically a hybrid. This paper is a hybrid between a watercolor paper and a drawing paper. So you can use both techniques, wet and dry, because it has the surface of a drawing paper, so not too much texture, but the sizing that is on these papers is a watercolor sizing. So it will be internally and externally sized. So you will have a much higher resistance against liquid absorption. But still, all of our papers are 100% vegan friendly. So the sizing that we are using here is a chemical sizing. I can't get much into
That
That's
is
a
secret ingredient.
but it's 100% vegan friendly.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and test out some supplies on this paper. So for this one I have everything that I used for the drawing, but I also have some more fun stuff. I had so much fun picking out things for this, so thank you for bringing these papers.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right. So first off, I have some Artfinity sketch markers. All right, are we gonna go pink again?
No, let's switch it up.
All right, what do you want? What do you want?
Let's get that one.
Green. And we did not purposefully match our colors today. That seems
No.
to happen a lot. Ooh. And there's no bleeding. Doesn't bleed through either.
Exactly. You have like a very, very good substance. You have 140 pounds, and also the 100% cotton fibers will make this paper more absorbent.
And then I had some oil pastels. And let's do, I like this green.
Oh, I love this one.
It's like a deep turquoise. But I don't see any like oil ringing around this. But we'll take another look. I'm pretty sure that this is going to hold up really well with these oil pastels. And then I have some gouache. And the gouache and watercolor and acrylic is going to be what a lot of people are wanting to see with paper.
Sure. And this one is perfect for it because, as I said before, you have the sizing, the surface sizing that we also use on our watercolor papers. So it will be 100% resistant to liquids, any kinds of liquids. So water, acrylic, or gouache, ink, whatever.
And do you know of any like famous artists that have used this Arte Moderna paper?
Not yet, because
This is new.
Yeah, this is rather new in our product collection. For example, the one that we talked about before, Annigoni, is a historical paper, and the one that you saw on the cover of our Annigoni pack, that is drawn on Annigoni paper. So I'm still trying to find some very famous
Right.
artists that painted on this one. This is just two years old, so it's a very new
Oh,
paper.
this is really new.
Yeah, because it's a mixed media paper, and the mixed media technique just is, it's just a more modern paper rather than, for example, a watercolor.
I'm loving the way this acrylic is going on here.
Yeah.
And I know from Emmy's episode that you can water down acrylic on paper. So I'm gonna do that.
Also, what I really like about this Arte Moderna paper is that the more brilliant white that I talked to you about before of the color of the paper is, you know, making the contrast between the colors that you're applying on it and the paper itself more vibrant. So it's not that traditional feel, but it enhances what you are trying to draw and paint on this paper. So I really, really love it. And it has these beautiful, nice tooth to it, which is like very, very nice.
So I'm just gonna go in with the same drawing materials I had for the other one. This one has a slightly different texture to it. It feels a lot more of a fine texture than the drawing paper.
Yeah, this is also a natural rough surface, so it's not you know, realized with any by using any felt, any marking felt. It's just, you know, a natural texture that comes out of our machine, and that's what it makes, you know, suitable for the drawing techniques.
You have a question?
Will Magnani ever create sketchbooks out of their beautiful, beautiful paper?
Ooh.
That's a good question. Let's say that it's not available at the moment, but as I'm the product manager, so you're speaking to the right person.
Yes.
You're asking the right person. I'm working on it. So stay tuned, and I think there's gonna be some exciting news soon.
That's already exciting. Oh my gosh, you guys asked the right question. Ooh. That charcoal on that paper.
I don't know, charcoal just gets me excited.
Yeah. All right. Do we have any other questions while we're swatching some materials? And in case I'm going way too fast, because I'm just having too much fun, I have the Artfinity alcohol markers in this nice kind of seafoam green. This deep turquoise was that oil pastel. I have Turner Design Gouache on here. And then I have some acrylic, charcoal. I have those oil-infused jumbo jet pencils, and those metallic soft pastels.
Oh, I was just about to ask about soft pastel.
Yes.
So that is appropriate for this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it does adhere pretty well, even with me blending it in there. And then I have these ink pens.
So you asked before if there was any famous artist that used this paper, so I'm still trying to figure that out. But I can tell you some, you know, fun names. And,
Yes.
let's say prominent personalities that use our papers throughout the years. As the brand already says itself, Magnani 1404, we are very old brand from Italy with more than 600 years of history. And throughout the years we had some pretty important names that used our papers, like for example Maestro Pietro Annigoni, but we also had, for example, Picasso painting on our papers, De Chirico, Gottuso, or for example another prominent figure that commissioned paper to our paper mill was Napoleon Bonaparte, the one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the small one, the short one.
What kind of paper did he want?
He wanted our paper mill to produce the wedding invitations for his wedding with Marie Louise of Austria. So yeah, we still have the original watermark of the effigies of Napoleon and his wife in our historic archive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You have a question?
How exactly would you either varnish or seal this paper, for either acrylics or watercolors, whatever the medium may be?
I can answer that. So it really depends on the medium. If it is something like acrylic gouache or acrylic, that is something that you can like paint on top with like an acrylic gouache, or not gouache, acrylic varnish. If you have something that is more of a dry material, like mostly everything else on here, I would probably use a spray varnish so that you're not ruining the piece that you put on here. But as this is a multimedia paper, it should be able to accept whatever kind of varnish you put on there, as long as it's not like a oil-based something.
Exactly. Yeah. Oil is not truly a friend of paper in general.
Right.
Rather, but if you prime it with acrylic gesso, for example, you can use oil on it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so I just added colored pencil down here. I tried going super light, and you can really see that really nice texture peeking through. And then I also used some graphite. Have a question?
This is just for me. Have you
Yes.
talked about the page on our site yet?
I have not.
I was just looking at it because someone had a question, and I was like, oh, let's not forget.
So if you have not experienced this yet, we are in love with this ourselves. If you go to JerrysArtarama and go to the Magnani landing page, it shows all of the different papers that we have from Magnani, and it will tell you a little bit about each paper, and just the landing page in general is kind of magical.
It's like a magic trick.
It is.
No,
It changes colors as you move through. It's just definitely fun, even if you just want to experience what it looks like.
Yeah, if you want to
But
know
yes.
more about good quality paper and, just have a walk through all of the different kinds of papers that can elevate your technique, make sure to go there because, as they said, it's beautiful. Beautiful.
And since we're kind of on a tangent, I do want to let you guys know that if you stuck around this whole time, we are doing a giveaway.
Yeah, we are.
So we have 4 different giveaways. We have 2 of the Annigoni paper pads in the 7x10 inch. And then we also have the 7x10 Arte Moderna pads as well. So
Perfect pronunciation.
thank you. I tried.
Yeah.
If you guys want to join that lottery, our wonderful moderators, Emmy and Amanda, will have a link for you guys to go to sign up for this. You do not put it in the comments. They'll have a link for you to go to sign up. But we do have a question for you guys as well for that, which is, who was the famous queen Annigoni did a portrait of, which is what Lisa had said earlier in this video.
So if you were paying attention,
Yes.
you might be the lucky one.
Correct. If you want, we can show them what they look like. They look just like what we were playing with, but a little bit smaller. So here's that little Annigoni.
They're shrink wrapped, so it's
Yes,
a
for
little
protection.
Bit, yeah, exactly.
But these are the giveaways. There's going to be 2 of these guys and 2 of these guys. If you get pulled to win, you will be surprised with one or the other.
And I always say that you
Or
can...
no, wait. Do you get to choose?
It's a random draw. I was just gonna say, once again, that a comment is not an entry.
Yes, comment is not an entry. There is going to be a link for you to go and answer the question and sign up for a chance to win.
And also, people are so generous.
Yes,
and just
don't give
telling
out the
everyone
answer.
else the answer.
Keep the answer to yourself.
Can you remind remind us when it ends?
Yes, so you will have a week to put in your submission, and that will be next Monday at midnight. So you have until then to get your submission in. So if you need to watch back again and you forgot your answer,
Yes.
you have a little bit of time to do that. But also, oh wait, before I go and finish up today, I did take one of these for myself, not one of the giveaways, but this exact pad. And I wanted to play around with the Arte Moderna paper because I love mixed media. So I played around with a bunch of different mediums. I have gouache, that interference watercolor from our core show. I have the gold Artfinity ink pen in here, as well as those Jumbo Jet and some Cezanne colored pencil to do my sketch in.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
and-
I had way too much fun using your paper.
No, but you can tell, like, I can
Yes.
never do something like that. But I can talk about paper all day long, but I'm
You
not
are
able
the
to do
paper
that.
expert.
I try.
But yes, so this truly shows how much you can add onto here, and it still holds up
Wow.
super well.
I love the sparkly.
Oh, the shiny.
Yeah.
Yes.
Someone asked if you could demonstrate watercolor on it. Do you have any up there, or?
I do not, but if you want to grab some, I can definitely do that.
I have my meat pellet right there.
So let's pull this back down.
That's water.
Do you have water in a
I
butt?
do.
Okay.
We're very flexible here.
Oh yes. So I have some watercolor here. This is a custom palette made by Emmy Klein. And oh my goodness, I have to go for this magenta.
Wow.
That goes on. It feels kind of like a hot press.
Yeah, it is. It is, let's say, rather on the smoother side than, let's say, on the super textured. It's not a rough paper. It's not a cold press paper, but still you have some kind of tooth to it. So if you're looking something in between cold press and hot press, you can absolutely go with Arte Moderna.
I don't know if you guys can see that. There's a little bit of a glare where that water is. Let's go to that side camera. You can see I did a couple little blooms of color in that wet area, but it goes on so nice, and it feels very much like that hot press, kind of in between that hot press and cold
Yeah,
press.
exactly. And it doesn't buckle. You know, yeah, the paper is surface sized, vegan sizing, so it will make sure that your paper, you know, stays as flat as possible. It will maybe buckle a little bit if you load a lot of water on it, but yeah.
Thank you for that. I don't know how I could have forgotten watercolor.
I know you said you used it on the gourd one, but
But yeah, so that is everything for today.
I think so.
If you want to also join our Facebook group, if you guys don't know about that, our Jerry's Live Facebook group has that one security question for you to answer if you are not a part of it yet, for you to get in. But that's going to have our whole community of you guys that watch our videos. And if you join along with any of our videos or use any of the supplies that we use in our shows, definitely share that with us on that Jerry's Live Facebook group. We love seeing those. But don't forget about answering that question on that sign-up page, which is not in the comments. That's going to be a separate link, to have a chance to take home one of these pads and try it for yourself.
Absolutely.
But that is today. Next week, I will be back, and so will Ophelia. If you guys have been following along with Ophelia going to school so you guys don't have to, she's coming back for part 2 of learning to draw. So come check that out if you are interested. But thank you so much for joining us, Lisa.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for having me. It was a blast. And I can't wait to come back to talk more about Magnani papers.
Definitely. All right, so are you ready to dance
I'm ready,
off?
yeah. As ready as I can be.
All right, ready? Bye, guys.
Bye.